which in a commercial tube of toothpaste, there is enough sodium fluoride to be fatal to 2 children under 5, which is why this warning label was put on there in the first place. So, and if more than, it usually says if more than used for brushing, but it actually often says if more than a pea-sized amount is swallowed, get medical help or contact the Poison Control Center right away. So if it sounds crazy, it is. So we're going to open the floor for questions. I think we have 30 minutes for questions, and I'll be happy to answer as many as we can. Again, you can contact me at Dr. Jerry Curatola. If you go to rejuve-health.com, this is some of my team. We'll be happy to get you this information or schedule a virtual consult, which may be really enlightening. There is a button on the website to click for a virtual consult. We do them with people from all over the world. So I will stop. Actually, I think Michael.
Yes. How you doing?
Good, good, good. So
Do you
happy to
now?
answer questions.
So now you just mentioned 30 minutes. Do you have a hard stop in 30 minutes? Because normally we would go until 5.
Sure, I could go longer.
Okay. All right. So, sorry, pronounce the name of the toothpaste again.
Revitin, or you can say Revenant or Revitin.
All right. Well, I'll say what you say. So Revitin. Okay. So so specifically, what have you seen with regard to Revitin with regard to health? You mentioned, a couple of items about gingivitis, but given the beginning of the talk and its connection to the body, and that Revitin is invigorating the healthy microbiome of the mouth. Have you seen other things in the body?
Well, one of the things that we've done a lot of clinicals. By the way, we did a recent randomized double-blind clinical looking at the genomic analysis of the microbiome. So if I could go back to the picture, this picture, hang on, right here. Do you see that blue circle? The blue circle is indicative of a healthy microbiome. And what we found in our randomized double blind is that we restored the microbiome to a low film thickness, which is that thin, clear, odorless film that you see here. And we had mostly healthy bacteria. So what we would call probiotic bacteria. So, people got into this thinking, I want to correct this, that there's good bacteria and bad bacteria, and that they're different. No, they're just bacteria. When they behave good, we call them probiotic. When they flip a pathogenic switch, for example, Streptococcus mutans bacteria, they behave good, we call them probiotic. When they behave bad, we call them pathogens. So what Revitin did is it fostered the state of probiotic nature of the organism. So we had mostly aerobic, healthy probiotic bacteria. And we saw a reversal of the inflammation, the reduction in the inflammation of this gross uh, mix of pathogens, pathogenic bacteria that may have been probiotic originally and then flipped a switch. It's called pleomorphism. So this unhealthy state is what you want to reverse. Now, your question is, what do you notice in the body when that happens? Well, you may not you may not get sick. You may not catch a cold. I mean, anybody who is undergoing cancer treatment should be using Revitin. Anybody who has autoimmune disease should be using Revitin. Anybody, I mean, everyone, obviously anybody from children to late adults, women in menopause should be using Revitin, and they will see benefits and support and reversal of lots of symptoms that they have that are the result of an imbalanced microbiome, such as what you see on the right. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. So what flips the switch that makes bacteria go from being probiotic to pathogenic?
Anything on this list. So actually, I will tell you what shifts the switch the most. Number 10. What makes the switch and what shifts it is when you're using stuff. So we have tried to use things in oral care that are destructive to the microbiome, right? So you have alcohol-based mouthwash, you have sodium lauryl sulfate, you have xylitol and erythritol, you have overpowering essential oils like tulsi oil, clove oil, tea tree oil, peppermint oil, all very harmful. That's what really, a lot of that is uh, going to negatively affect the oral microbiome.
So what I'm hearing with regard to number 10 is the things that we're doing that we think are good for our mouth. We're not even thinking about the microbiome in our mouth. We're just thinking about having fresh breath and squeaky clean teeth.
Right,
Uh, though the things that we're doing to be good are actually the most detrimental to the health of the
right.
mouth.
This concept that was put into people's brains, along with fluoride being like a nutrient. Like if you don't have fluoride, you're going to get cavities. That is totally disproven. You get cavities from an imbalance in the microbiome. You do not get cavities because you're not using fluoride. As a matter of fact, using fluoride is destructive to the microbiome. Using fluoride is destructive to your body. Using fluoride, by the way, the element on the periodic table is fluorine, F minus or FL minus. I forget what it is. It's the most highly charged, negatively charged, most highly negatively charged element that's non-radioactive on the periodic table. And what we see with fluorine, is that when you introduce it to natural teeth and bones, which are made of hydroxyapatite, not the synthetic chemical that they're trying to put in toothpaste, but natural teeth and bones are made of hydroxyapatite. It's got the hydroxy is OH minus, and apatite I think is AP plus. The hydroxy gets blown out because it's a weakly negatively charged by the strongly negatively charged fluorine, F minus, and that creates fluorapatite. When you look at the physical properties of fluorapatite versus hydroxyapatite, fluorapatite is more than 30% weaker, meaning that when they looked at hip fracture rates in the 1980s, teeth and bones were not stronger. They were harder because it makes it very hard, like this glass, but it makes it very, very brittle. So what they did is they did these famous hip fracture studies after 25 years of water fluoridation, and they found an inverse. Hip fracture rates went straight up along with fluoridation. And, so you have lots of things that have been used in oral care that were believed to be good that are not only ineffectual but harmful.
And what is sodium lauryl sulfate and why is it in toothpaste commonly?
It's a great question. Sodium lauryl sulfate was an early ingredient in the manufacturing of toothpaste. And who were the early manufacturers, the early developers of toothpaste? They were the soap makers, Procter and Gamble, Colgate, Lever Brothers, and such. And so one of the principal ingredients in toothpaste was SLS, which is sodium lauryl sulfate, which made the toothpaste foam up like a soap. It was thought of as a healthy soap for your mouth. I was on, I referred to, I was on the Martha Stewart show many years ago, and she asked me about my research in oral care when I was doing the early microbiome research. And she said, I said, Martha, toothpaste was developed by soap makers 100 years ago. If my mother used to say, if I said a dirty word, she'd stick soap in my mouth, but I was brushing with it unknowingly. And she laughed. And I said, but then we got into the idea that we put bug killers in, and the idea that, we got to nuke everything, nuke the microbiome. And I said, it's, what I'm promoting is organic gardening for the mouth. And, you know, it's time to get out of the pesticide business, which resonated with her, having been very much a proponent of organic gardening from years ago. But yeah, it's really interesting, the history of oral care and the ingredients that are in there, like SLS. By the way, another interesting fact about SLS, it's an irritant to skin and soft tissue. Dermatological companies use SLS to irritate the skin to test dermatologic products. Look it up. SLS is an irritant. So you're putting it in toothpaste in your mouth to irritate the soft, it will irritate the soft tissue.
Is that what causes the tingly feeling?
Yeah, yeah, that and the alcohol content and other tingly feeling. Like my mother used to love Listerine when I was growing up. She was like, that burning feeling is it's working.